Okay.
Civil authority.
Call to order the meeting of the Bartlett Planning and Zoning Commission on March 5th, 2026. Please call the roll.
The meeting is now live. Raise hand is enabled. To raise your hand, press *5. This meeting is being transcribed. This meeting is being recorded.
Michelle Sarwaz. Here. Charlie DeVoe.
Here.
George Koziel. Bob Picaro.
Here.
John Miasso.
Here.
Julie Kapadakakis.
Here.
Amy McSwain.
Here.
John Borgren.
Here.
Mike Weirden.
Motion to make Bob Picaro the chair for this evening.
I'll make a motion. Bobby Carroll is our chairman for tonight.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Okay, first we'll call for the approval of the February 5th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 5th meeting.
Second.
Okay, a motion by John and a second by Amy. Please call the roll.
Michelle Sarwaz.
Yes.
Charlie DeVoe.
Yes.
Bob Picaro.
Abstain.
John Miasso.
Yes.
Julie Kapadakakis.
Yes.
Amy McSwain.
Yes.
John Borgren.
Yes. Okay, next is a public forum. If anyone has any comments that you would like to make on anything that's not on tonight's meeting, it's an opportunity for you now to make those comments. Okay, seeing none, we will proceed with tonight's case, which is case 25-13, Bartlett Meadow. Do you have evidence of the sign, the mailings, and the newspaper?
Yes, we do.
Okay, please mark those exhibits A, B, and C. And we'll have turn it over to the petitioner and to staff to present the case.
Yeah, we have some background information on the property, and then we'll hand it over to the petitioner. The development of the 19.75-acre property is subject to a consent decree entered in 1997. Town and Country Homes had previously submitted a preliminary PUD plan for Eagles Ridge subdivision that proposed the townhomes on this parcel. As part of the agreement, this parcel was zoned and marketed for commercial uses for 15 years before the village could consider an application for a residential development. The original PUD plan proposed 52 dwelling units on the subject property with a gross density of 2.6 dwelling units per acre. So we'll hand it over to the petitioner. You should have a
So,
over there too.
if anybody who's going to speak, okay, we'll do you all at the same time if you raise your right hand, and do you testify do you affirm that the information that you're going to provide is wholly the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then, for the record, if you state your name and address.
Perfect. My name is Matt Brawley. I work for Pulte Home Company. We are 1900 East Gulf Road in Schaumburg. With me tonight, I do have our civil engineer, our land planner, both with SEMCON. We have a traffic engineer from KLOA. We have a landscape designer from Dixon Design, and then we also have our wetland ecologist from V3. Just by way of background, Pulte Home Company is a publicly traded home builder. We've been building homes here in Chicagoland since the 60s. We closed over 1,000 homes last year. Currently, we're operating in 17 different communities around the suburbs of Chicagoland, as far north as Lindenhurst and as far to the south as Orland Park. We tend to focus our efforts in extraordinary school districts, which is what brought us to the village of Bartlett tonight. It's not the first time we've been in town. We were in town a couple years ago with the Eastfield project. That was 27 lots. It was approved in the fall of 2020. This is off the northeast corner of Army Trail in Petersdorf, across from Bartlett High School. We sold all 27 of those very quickly and completed in the spring of 2022. Real quick, the subject site, we're at the southwest corner of Illinois Route 59 and US Route 20 with the roadway access from Horizon Drive. We are 19.75 acres that has been farmed in the past. We do have floodplain on our west, and then wetland on both sides of our site plan. Staff went over quickly the consent decree, which dedicated this site as B4 for a period of 15 years, which has expired. So we are here tonight proposing a change of use as contemplated by the consent decree to residential. Just wanted to, before I show you too much of the site plan, just to show the wetlands on site. So the site is flanked on both sides, the east and west, with wetlands. We're avoiding the wetlands with the site plan, as I'll show you in the next slide, where we've dedicated 57% of the site as open space. So we have our wetlands on either outermost side, and then you see our detention areas on the south. That entire area will be planted natives and owned and managed by the HOA. To ensure that the natives operate without the influence of the neighbors, we do have the blue fence, the blue line here represents a 4-foot aluminum fence that we're going to put adjacent to the native areas, and then along the north we also have a 6-foot board-on-board fence to help with screening from the interchange and then also from the adjacent use to the north. So now talking about the site plan a little bit. The site plan calls for 28 single-family homes. The lot sizes are 7,500 square feet, which does exceed the code minimum of 6,000. But we are requesting 2 deviations. A reduction of the rear yard setback from 45 feet to 20 feet, so a 20-foot difference there, and then an increase in the maximum impervious area. And when you really look, and I didn't prepare a good slide for this, when you really look at the site plan, every house but 2 backs up to that open space. So shortening your rear yard doesn't bring you any closer to any other home or building. It's ultimately we have to keep the floodplain and the wetlands off of these properties, and that was the singular way to get that accomplished. Additionally, with that deviation, it really coincides with the maximum impervious increase from 40 to 45. If you run the math on that 20 foot in the back, if that was on the residential lot, we wouldn't need any variation there. It's really just shortening these up. Like I mentioned before, the existing special management areas on either side are respected, and we're enhancing the buffer. And we are providing, we have singular roadway access to Horizon at the northwest, and then we are providing a stub to the property to the south for future development opportunity. Going into the homes that we plan to build, we have 4 floor plans. This is, and the full package I think was attached in your agenda. But our homes range in size from 2,300 square feet up to 3,800 square feet. We're 3-bedroom base house condition, but you can upgrade that based on your needs, your unique needs. And then 2-car garages, and several of these lots do accommodate what we call a bolt-on third car, where it just attaches to the side of the house as an option for buyers. These are a few select elevations of each of the 4 floor plans. Just wanted to show that we are based on staff's comments, we revised these and sent in elevations that do have some more masonry on them. So we will always have one that doesn't, and then we have the increase in masonry from there. So the idea is that if you're a buyer, you can choose which elevation that you want to put your money into and select the one that fits your family. I'll go real quick just to show you the floor plan. So I picked the Newberry plan, which is not showing very well on the screen, but this is our base floor plan at 2,391 square feet. This is before options. It's a standard 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with a 2-car garage. One thing that's unique somewhat to Pulte is as you come, well actually this is both in the same spot. So as you come in off the garage, we have what we call the Pulte, the PPC, the Pulte Planning Center, which is really your homework spot, where you pay your bills and that right off the kitchen. So you're still around, but not too far away. And then we also design in what we call the Pulte Drop Zone. So inside your house, it's all the shoes and my kids' softball bags and all that. A little bit outside of the kitchen, but it is unique to Pulte, and I thought I'd point that out. And then you'll notice in the front here we have a flex room, and I'll show you the options later. Some of those flex rooms can be converted into space with doors or a bedroom, that kind of thing. I'll show you the other floor plan. This is our largest floor plan. If you start in the garage, it includes garage storage, which is a unique feature on this. Again, when you walk in, you have the Pulte Drop Zone, and then you have the Pulte Planning Center just off the kitchen. And then this gathering room here, as you get in the bigger square footage homes, the gathering room actually is vaulted, so you have that volume space as an amenity when you buy in those homes. And this floor plan has a more formal dining area, and then also the flex plan on the first floor. When you look at the options that you can add for a Waverly, we really pride ourselves on providing buyer optionality to make our house their home. The multitude of structural options that you can add. Sorry. Sometimes it doesn't like me. Look at that. There you go. Thank you. So you can see all the options there on the first floor with fireplaces or converting that flex room to a bedroom. The sunroom off the back of the building is very popular. Folks invest in that a lot. And then if you look in the second floor, you can convert that loft space into a game room for additional interior square footage if that suits your family. And I think that's the high-level overview, and I'd be happy to take any questions. I was going to say, pending our successful approvals, we are going to close on the property next month in April of 26. We'll grand open for sales in November of 26, and our first residents will move in February of 27. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
Say, Matt, before you go, would you explain one more time why the setback was decreased to 20 feet, from 40 to 20?
Yeah. So if you look at, actually way in the back, I have a, so the green represents areas that currently back up to open space. That line that I drew in there is about 20 feet. So if we were allowed to have wetland, on the property, we wouldn't need any deviation. We need to keep the wetland separate from the actual lot people buy, so we're not harming the neighbors or anybody else based on that.
Where's the access road to come into it?
Is off of Horizon Drive up here. There's an existing...
Close is that to the end townhouse?
To the townhouse? I think it is right next to...
Right across the street,
Across the street?
right there.
All right.
Yeah, so you can see on this one, you can see there's a townhouse here. Roadway comes, make a left, we would be creating that third leg of the intersection there.
Okay, I'd like to just note for the record that Mike Worden arrived 7:18. And also, before we go any further, has staff received any phone calls, emails from any residents or anybody?
Yes, we've received a number of calls, none of which had any opinions on the development, though.
Okay. No emails, nothing in writing to present to us?
No.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion, any comments from any of the commissioners?
Yeah, what is the price point on these homes?
Oh, you might ask that. So these homes will start around the 580s, and with buyer options, they'll probably close in the mid sixes, is what we're thinking currently.
Go in the upper sixes, you're saying?
Yeah,
Eastfield went over 600, didn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you'll be in the upper sixes.
You said the wetlands person is here to discuss that?
He is, and he would love to talk.
Yeah, let's talk about some wetlands.
Good evening. My name is Scott Breka. I work for V3 Companies. Our address is 7325 Janes Avenue, Woodridge, Illinois.
So what is the plan as far as the wetlands and keeping them safe or keeping the,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Pulte is very good at being conscientious early in the process about identifying these special management areas, wetlands, floodplains, associated buffers. Their plan completely avoids the wetlands that have been delineated on the site. In fact, these wetlands are considered regulatory by the DuPage County Ordinance. There is also connectivity off-site with the wetlands that would regulate them also under the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So by avoidance of those wetlands, there is no Army Corps of Engineers involvement, which is good. And two, the 50-foot buffer that is associated with these wetlands, if you can imagine a 50-foot distance from the edge of those white lines, the buffer in its existing condition is very degraded. The proposed development has an enhanced native planted 50-foot buffer in between the wetland line and the proposed lots. So we are actually providing an enhancement to the project and the area in general, and the overland stormwater that will flow will now be filtrated through the buffer plantings prior to it entering into the wetlands. So we are completely avoiding and enhancing the buffers.
and then most of the housing is going to be, I walked around there today, so it's on the upper hill area, and obviously, and the wetlands flow down, so,
Yes, sir.
okay. Thank you.
If, just to correct, I believe you said DuPage County, this is Cook County?
Yes.
Okay, so just to correct the record,
No, the village of, go ahead.
We're using the DuPage County Stormwater Ordinance when operating in Cook County, even if this development is not in DuPage County.
We follow their stormwater ordinance.
Okay.
So it's the same rules for any development in the village.
all right, thank you.
Thank you for the clarification.
I have, if your traffic person is here. Considering, I mean, Horizon Drive and how it comes out onto Lake Street, and the other community that comes out there, there's no traffic control there. What, I mean, did you do some studies? What, what can you tell us about?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Javier Milan. I'm a principal with KLOA Incorporated, 9575 West Higgins Road in Rosemont. And regarding your question, you're absolutely right. You have Horizon Drive that basically goes up north and connects with Lake Street, and then across is Monarch Drive. Couple of things. And Lake Street is designated by the state of Illinois as a strategic regional arterial. And it just means it carries a lot of traffic, and the whole intent is just to continue protecting the integrity of the SRA route to continue flowing with that amount of traffic. So going northbound and exiting Horizon Drive, right now there's only a single lane. And certainly trying to make the left out, and I know you have done it, I have done it too, it's difficult. Same thing as Monarch Drive, trying to make the left out. Having said that, to try to get a traffic signal in there, you would need to have 8 hours of constant traffic volume of 100 vehicles per hour or more to actually warrant a signal. Otherwise, the state is not going to allow it. So we looked at the traffic volumes, and even including this development, as well as the potential Horizon Plaza that could be going further north, doesn't even come close to warranting a signal. Having said that, that's not the only way to exit this site. You could also go west, and then you can connect with Naperville Road, and then go up north, and there's a signal at Naperville Road and Lake Street, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going off of memory. But the beauty is that there's more than one way to get out of here. If there will only be one way to get out of here, it can get a little bit complicated, and I'm going to certainly acknowledge that. But there's more than one way. And the other thing is keep in mind that 28 homes, single-family homes don't generate that much traffic. During the peak hours, it's basically about 24 to 30 total trips in and out. You divide that over an hour, we're talking about one trip every 2 minutes. If everything is equal, I understand that there can be some, but if you do everything equal, it's about one trip every 2 minutes.
I didn't notice on the maps out of where the townhomes are. Mm-hmm. Is there an exit out onto Naperville Road west?
So, because they're connecting to Horizon Drive, you could basically continue. It's a little bit confusing, but you have Horizon Drive that goes south, and then it just continues
West, yeah.
Okay.
And there's through it. So that's what I'm saying. They're connecting there, so they could either go
There's a way.
north,
Okay.
or they could go west, and that's what I meant, and I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or discussion? Okay.
I do want to add that this lot was part of the Eagles Ridge subdivision by Town and Country in the early 90s. That's why that connection for this parcel has that jog for that roadway connection to Horizon Drive.
And that was approved, but it never developed?
So the village, part of the consent decree, there was a lawsuit. Town and Country wanted to put townhomes there. The village wanted commercial. As part of the consent decree, the property owner agreed to market the site for commercial uses with the intent of there being a connection to Horizon Drive. If that did not come to pass in 15 years, then this property would be available to be rezoned for residential, provided the density was less than what was originally proposed.
No, I missed it. Was there an egress to go south on 59, or an exit rather?
No.
So there is a stub to the south.
Only Horizon.
And the properties to the south
Okay,
develop.
that's
So,
what,
which is pretty standard for most of our developments. When they abut vacant land, we typically try to have a connection.
Okay, with no further comments from the commission, we'll open up the public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak, we need your name. Do you have, okay, so Kim will call those.
David Hull.
Good evening, everyone. I'm David Hull. I live at 1250 Spalding Road, which is connected to Horizon in the Eagles Ridge subdivision. And my concern, number one, is it's a actually kind of a small plot of land, and it's right next door to a holding parking lot for a couple of auto dealerships that are now in place on Lake Street. So I'm not sure that your neighbors are going to want to look at that, but what the plans are for greenery and blocking all that off, I'm not really sure about that either. What I'm more concerned with is the traffic that is going to be created. I realize that our traffic manager has said that, you know, we don't merit a light at Horizon or Frontage Road is actually what it is at Lake Street, but it's going to be very, very congested. Number two, there's going to be a lot more traffic on Horizon, thusly to Spalding, thusly over to Naperville, because it will make things a lot more difficult to get out while there is construction, and then possibly once all these homes are built, that will, you know, create a lot of mayhem in the morning. It's a very nice, quiet area we live in Eagles Ridge, and we certainly like to keep it that way, and it is one lane going each direction through that subdivision and then into the single-family homes neighborhoods that border us or that we border. So I'm very concerned about a lot of the traffic that we are going to get, especially starting construction. And I'm sure that the people who live at the very ends of our association will not really appreciate that either, but I don't know that they are here either. Maybe they're just unaware of this, but it's going to be difficult. And that is, you know, one of my major concerns. Plus, I don't know, I happen to appreciate open land, and I know that there's a lot of other places in Bartlett that look like they might be suitable for these types of homesteads, but those are some of my objections to this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don Llewellyn.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening. My name is Don Llewellyn. I live in 1136 Peregrine Parkway. I'm actually on the board for the Eagle Ridge Association. My my two comments, I'm not against progress and things like that. The first thing, which was not on my list, but as it's been brought up a few times, I would just bring it up. I respect the comments that the traffic engineer made, and understand that he did his due diligence and everything. The thing I would respectfully suggest is that as we look at that picture, we can see that that parking lot to the north is actually a parking lot for the auto mall, the auto places on Lake Street. And it's been my understanding, excuse me, when that was approved, that they agreed they were not going to turn left. However, the reality is they do turn left. So I would, sorry, my allergies are up. I would respectfully request that in the future, as we move on, that we take a look at maybe banning turning left from Frontage Road onto Lake Street during high traffic periods such as 7 to 9 a.m. and 5 to 7 p.m., things like that, to address the fact that it is a single lane road, and if you're trying to turn left when there's a high traffic period, it just will create a massive backup. The two comments I put on my sheet that I wanted to clarify or ask questions, and I realize you have an engineer and they look at things, and you have a landscaper and they look at things, but you can't really see it on this map. But next, just south of the last townhouse, there's a large, I believe it's an oak tree. I'm not a botanist, I don't know. But in that area, a little bit more to the right, there's a very large oak tree, and I actually think it's a group of oak trees that are just quite conjuncted together or whatever. I would just respectfully ask if there's any way that we can keep these old trees that have been around for decades, as opposed to bulldozing them down. I realize when you're building a road and you're putting in sidewalks and things, reality hits hard, but I would just respectfully ask if there's any way that we can keep large trees that are currently in existence. The second thing that I put on my list to ask about is I don't see an emergency ingress or egress option. If we look at Timberline, They have pavers at the end of one of their parking lots, so emergency vehicles could actually come off of Naperville Road, cross over the sidewalk, onto the pavers, onto the parking lot to access the timberline, because there's only one normal road in. And if we look at Bartlett Ridge, behind the auto malls, they have a gate, which is really simply a wire, but it's behind Moretti's, so that if something were to happen, emergency vehicles could actually enter through Moretti's and have an alternate ingress or egress into Bartlett Ridge. And I'm just concerned that when we look at this diagram, there is no alternate emergency, or whatever you want to say, ingress or egress into Bartlett Meadows. That's all I have. Thank you.
Michael Murphy?
Good evening. My name is Michael Murphy. I live at 1098 Horizon Drive. My most important concern is, I think with the progress we're making here with inviting new neighbors, is that we have to, as a board, take responsibility for the frontage road. I'd like to see the board consider dedicating the frontage road, the Cook County portion, and absorb that as dedicated streets within the village of Bartlett as part of this commitment. There's an awful lot of use of that frontage road. It's deteriorating, and the car dealerships have turned out to be poor neighbors. And what I mean by poor neighbors is, we originally agreed as part of the occupancy for the car dealers that the car dealer porters would not turn left on Lake Street when they come off Frontage Road. They violate that agreement continuous. The police is aware of that. The village board is aware of that. And it seems like they're just poor neighbors, and they fail to abide by the agreement. It turns out during rush hour with our transportation, the car dealership porters and salespeople, when they're taking cars to and from, they tie up the left lane. They insist on making left turns coming out of Frontage Road onto Lake Street, going back to the dealership, instead of making a right turn and going into the Cloverleaf, as what was prescribed by the board when they took ownership. So I'm not sure if I'm making myself clear, but we need attention on the frontage road, the wear and tear on that. We need dedicated streets and the Bartlett to maintain the streets. So I'd like to echo what Don said about ingress and egress, the emergency. It's a headache trying to leave the frontage road all the time. So I'd like to thank you for your time and wish that you recommend that to the board when you make your recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, is there anyone else who would like to make comments?
Christie, the frontage road is maintained by the state?
Actually, it was recently turned over to the village.
Recently.
So I'm going to send an email to our Public Works Director to find out what the maintenance plans are for that.
Yeah, it does need maintenance over there.
So we might have some potential for having at least a double lane getting.
It was something that was turned over that the village was not initially aware of.
Okay.
So it has recently come to our attention that that was given to us, and so I don't know when Public Works has plans to improve it, but it's something that I can follow up with our Public Works Director tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, if there's no one else wishing to speak, we'll close the public meeting, the public hearing.
We do that after there's a motion.
Okay, I have a question to the petitioner. The comments about the large trees and, existing large trees that are on the site, are any of them, with your plan, are they going to come out, or are you going to be able to save some?
I know we do have, you can come on up. I know we do have a tree preservation plan as part of the project. Anything that, it's pretty well baked, anything that is being removed is either to avoid impacting the wetlands or just to get our roadway access to Horizon.
Hi, I'm Charles Denal with SEMCON at 2280 White Oak Circle in Aurora, Illinois. I can see the trees that this gentleman was talking about. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Looks like I can see about 7 trees in that vicinity that he's speaking about, just south of our entrance that's proposed. 4 of them were definitely not hitting, 6 of them actually were definitely not hitting with any of our proposals, with our changes to the grading there. One of them we might be affecting, and we can look at what we can do with mitigating any impact on that tree. If anything, I think it would be a change of maybe 1 foot, but I think we can maybe pull that back and save that tree. But 6 of them for sure are going to be unaffected.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so any questions, motions, discussion amongst the commissioners?
I have a question for staff. Have we had, our traffic people that look at this area where they say they're turning left out of the car dealerships to be able, do we have rights to put something in there, even if it's similar to what we have on Stearns at certain times, coming out of that area by the McDonald's and the Walgreens, and that there's no left turn at certain hours and things like that?
So we could have the village's traffic consultant look to see if it is necessary to put in a sign saying no left turns at certain times. However, IDOT has complete control of the intersection itself, so they're the ones that decide when a signal is warranted and when it is not. We can control access from the frontage road only.
Okay.
Well, we also have a problem, though, if there's no left turn and they have big, heavy-duty trucks or something, that means they'd be going through residential areas.
No, so the car dealership anyone coming out of the car dealership parking lots, according to their approved traffic circulation plan that was approved as part of their PUD approvals, is that they are to be making a right-hand turn onto Lake Street,
Okay.
using the cloverleafs to get onto 59, and then getting back on Lake Street going westbound and making a left into the dealerships.
Okay.
So what's our recourse if we've approved one plan and they're doing something?
So we can write like local ordinance tickets.
Okay.
When we see those. So when we have gotten complaints, we have reached out to the dealerships. When I've received complaints, we've reached out to the dealerships, reminded them, and police have done extra patrols. So if it's something that's continuing to go on, it's something that we can request the police department do additional patrols on that.
For staff, the land immediately to the south, so the street in the new subdivision would be ended, capped. The land to the south is ER1. Has there been any interest in that land? What does our future plan call for as a possible exit of that subdivision and whatever comes on to the south of it to have an entrance onto 59?
Any entrance to 59 would be obviously up to IDOT, but being that there's the stub there, it would certainly be connecting to another residential subdivision.
So ER1 is the most restrictive zoning that we have. And so that's what anything is automatically zoned when it's annexed into the village. So the village's future land use plan calls for all the properties on that stretch to be rezoned to commercial uses. Whether or not that would actually happen remains to be seen. Again, with this rezoning from commercial to residential could impact those plans in the future.
So there could be a possibility that at some point, that area would have an exit at Bay Tree?
If it had an exit at Bay Tree, then we do believe that that would have warrants for a traffic signal.
That it might be too close. This is an SRA as well, so I'm not sure IDOT's going to allow less than a quarter mile.
Right.
So long-term plan,
So long-term plan, ideally, you would try to have a connection where there's another intersection across from it, so Bay Tree. But there is, you can't really see it on this map, between the B4 piece and the ER1 piece that you see to the south, there is a sliver piece that is 7 feet wide at its narrowest and 15 feet wide at its widest point between those two parcels.
Okay, any other questions, comments, or motions?
I would make a motion for approval of Bartlett Meadow subdivision. That's case, what is the case number?
2513.
2513. That we approve 2513, the Bartlett Meadow subdivision, based on the findings, facts, and an inspection of the property. And the staff report, of course.
Okay, there's a motion by John, any second?
I'll second it.
Motion by John, a second by Mike, to pass on a positive recommendation on case 25-13 Bartlett Meadows, based on the findings of fact and the conditions and information from staff. So we,
Any further discussion? Call the roll.
any further discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Shel Sarwaz,
Yes.
Charlie DeVoe,
Yes?
Bob Picaro,
Yes?
Tom Miasso,
Yes.
Julie Kapudakakis,
Yes.
Amy McSwain,
Yes.
John Borkren,
Yes.
Mike Weirden.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. The commission will pass along a positive recommendation to the village board. Have any idea when this may go to the board?
This is going to Village Committee on next Tuesday, and then it will go to the final board for a final vote the first Tuesday in May. Or first in April, sorry. Sorry.
So in all the comments from the neighbors about the roads and stuff, if I understand it, you're going to pass that on to Public Works?
Yeah, I'll bring up the frontage road concerns with Public Works, and then I'll bring up the concerns about the auto malls, traffic making the left turns with the auto mall directly, as well as with the police department, to do some increased enforcement.
Thank you.
Okay, so you can keep in touch with Christie, but that's when it'll be on the committee of the whole and the village board meeting. Any old business, new business?
No.
Does it look like anything next month?
Yes. Be prepared for meetings for the next few months, so.
Okay.
Okay. Hearing nothing else, going to entertain a motion.
I'll move that we close, adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
All right, see